come up with a more creative thing. I swear, one of these days. Hello and welcome. Hello. This is Total Spotfest.
Let me give it a try.
All right, here. So let's go. Everybody, hold on. If you're listening, just bear with us. We're gonna. All right.
Okay. Welcome to Total Spotfest, the home of mid takes, mildly funny people, a really good wrestler, and a really, really smart predictor of stuff. Welcome to this house. Oh, and JJ. We are your hosts. I'm Jamie. That's JJ. Austin Reddick. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to your home again for AEW takes, independent takes, everything. Thank you. How about that?
My finger was hovered over the mute button the entire time, and it took every stretch in my will not to press it.
You just stop the stream and start it again. It's just a bit where for 90 minutes we just keep redoing the intro and never get talking about wrestling, and it's just over.
What our New Jack? Which everybody watching we find it funny, and that is totally us, by the way. If this is your first time here, hello. This is the introduction to us. So no, thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. We appreciate you giving us some of your time today. Oh boy, boys, we got a lot to get over tonight.
Been a busy week.
We absolutely do.
Been a busy week. We have, yes, Jamie is currently wearing that belt. We're going to see who still has that. We're going to talk about that pay-per-view. Just going to throw us out there. I'm going to drop a bomb and then walk away like I'm back in the office in the lunchroom. All Out. Better than All In? Question mark. And Dynamite. We had local wrestling we attended this past weekend. We're going to talk about it all. But, like we told you guys for the past few weeks, those of you who are listening, who are part of it, we got some real-life business to get to. Because it is time, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to do this at the beginning every week. Just kind of knock this out. Total Spotfest. Fantasy football. Dum, 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 dum.
Dun 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 dun.
Dum 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 dum.
It was a good one.
Austin, you didn't participate at all in this that theme songing there, man.
I'm not super excited about fantasy football right now. I'm gonna tell you why, because I have Drake London in 3 of my 4 leagues, which I've been drafting Drake London the last few years, just knowing like it's gonna happen.
Right.
But after week 1, it turns out Kirk Cousins is absolutely washed. And so I might be in for a rough season. Even though I'm projected to do pretty good this week, I spent a 3rd round pick on Drake London in 3 of my 4 leagues. And I'm not too excited. Although the Bears won, so an all right start to the season.
Bears won. Chiefs eked out a win on opening night there, in typical Chiefs fashion. That was the Chiefs' season, like regular season victory in a nutshell. Was this past Thursday? That is what it is. And then in 10 weeks they're going to be an unstoppable juggernaut. We all know that. How about my Steelers?
Well, hey, in a rare occurrence this year, Steelers won. They didn't get in the end zone, but they did win. Boswell went nuts.
Okay, you say rare occurrence. Steelers haven't had a losing season under Tomlin.
Yeah, so... I said this season. I'm calling this season.
Okay, all right. Yeah, fun fact. You guys want to know when the last time Steelers won doing nothing but field goals was? It was a playoff game at Arrowhead Stadium when Chris Boswell hit 6 field goals.
Yep.
Go figure. But hey, no rust bus, thank God. And my God, that defense. We're going to talk about all that in a bit here.
Bro, there is nothing more AFC North football than winning a game with doing nothing but kicking field goals.
Yes.
That's just AFC North football.
I mean,
very much.
Absolutely. Somebody tell the Browns that. Oh! All right.
Yeah.
So those you watching there. So we're going to kind of open up with this here. We just have our kind of like stat screen here. You know, as you see, some of us put up a lot of points. Few of us didn't. You know, but we all had matchups. I know that's what everybody wants to get to, right? Because that's where the trash talking comes from. So why don't we just get into that? All right. So let's look at the results of this week. Starting with your headliner, Jamie and me going off. Mr. Amazing at predicting things. Couldn't predict a first week victory in the Fantasy Football League, apparently. So
I mean, that's fair. I deserve that because Amon Ra got me 4.3 points. And Brandon Ayuk got me 4.8 points in the same game.
I said absolutely nothing because by the end of the season it's going to be just fine. But I was like, Ayuk week 1 after that holdout? Nah, man, bench him. He's not going to score you any points. So
no, he actually was getting open. It's just that run game was nuts.
Well, I had the wrong Baltimore tight end apparently. Okay, that's been rectified. But, you know, and I put Najee and George in there. They did fine, decent. The Lions defense was giving me all sorts of points until the fourth quarter and then just fell off the fucking wagon. I mean, the Rams in that fourth quarter were just, oh my God, just killers. Jalen could have done better. You did well with Anthony Richardson. We give you props there, man. You called it. You're like, they're not going to win a lot, but hey, this guy's going to get me my points. And he did. So...
And then my last pick of my draft, Kai Fairbairn, 17 fantasy points. That's what you get with kickers, man. Never pick them early. And I got the Dolphins defense, got me 12.
Yep, that's the way.
And everybody else shit the bed.
So a little bit of bragging rights for JJ here going in after week 1. Come on, where are we at? I'm going to skip down to the bottom here because, Austin, you had a really solid week. I mean, let's look at the enforcers here. 137 points, right?
Yeah.
That should get you a victory, okay?
It normally would.
Oh, not when Cooper Kupp goes off for 35 points, unfortunately.
It's Jake Moody's the kicker. Like, that's the thing.
Going in.
Your kicker got more points than my quarterback got. Your kicker got more points than my quarterback, dude. I mean, sorry. Chase's kicker got more points than my quarterback.
Yeah, I was looking good after Sunday afternoon, and then Cooper Kupp and then Jake Moody just went off, and
just went
everything went to hell. Speaking of looking good early on, for a minute there, it looked like Heidi Howitzer's team of mostly Jets and Bears,
the Air Bears,
outside of Saquon Barkley and AJ Brown, who went off on Friday. It looked like she was going to cruise, and then
it did.
The bottom fell out.
It did. I mean, Saquon just put up all sorts of stuff, right? And it's kind of like the Sophie's choice that Heidi has. Caleb or Aaron Rodgers? Who would you rather start? I think she did the smarter thing for the long haul, putting Caleb in there. Because,
I told her to start Caleb Williams just because Rodgers was playing the Jets or the Niners defense. I also told her that because she was going to pick up the Bears defense. And I was like, keep the Jets defense because they're actually going to be a good defense throughout the year. And then the Bears defense goes out there and has like a fumble return for a touchdown and a kickoff or a punt return for a touchdown.
Yeah, they had all the Bears touchdowns, ladies and gentlemen.
Still,
I had them in my other league.
Oh, you did?
Her opponent scored like 175, so even the Bears defense wouldn't have saved her. But
our friend Carlos, who basically copied you from other leagues, is our points leader for the season. Naturally, just going to town on that there. Megan eked out a victory there, 4 points over Curtis. Okay, so this is actually the most. I think, this was the closest match of the. No, yes, this is the closest match of the first week. Yeah,
that was 4 points, and we were 6 points. Yeah, we were like 6 points, 5 points almost. And that was.
Did you just change your name to Haktua?
Sure did.
Golf clap for Jamie, ladies and gentlemen. Golf clap for Jamie.
I lost. So Hawk is in Hawk and Animal, right? And then Tua. So Hawk Tua.
Oh,
You all are
God.
welcome.
That was fantastic. So, but no. So Megan eked it out there. Steelers defense got us some good points there, and then just solid performances. Joe Mixon, CJ Stroud. That Houston offense is going to put up points this year, man. I'll tell you what. Just if anybody out there, if you're looking to pick up somebody, just pick up somebody from the Houston offense.
I don't think there's
not one of the
any
receivers
offense available to pick up. They were all taken early in the draft.
In our league, they were, because I got Nico. I know that. But yeah. So
Megan got Stroud, and that's the right play because with all their options, you don't know who's gonna be the hot one, but one of them, the person feeding them is gonna be hot. So she made the right play. So
absolutely
really proud of her for that pick.
Absolutely, and Taylor and Mixon, that's a solid 1-2 punch. Not gonna lie, right? Mixon, I remember having him for years, right? And he's kind of like Alvin Kamara, who was my high point getter, right? Just all reliable, always gonna get you points. Finally, time of two good. Whipped out a win. Our buddy Rob, Big Rob. Come on, man.
Sorry, it's only week 1.
It's just one of those things
Big
you look
Rob's
at it.
Start 0-2 because Big Rob's got to play me this week. Count back.
That is let's look ahead here. So week 2, I am playing Heidi Howitzer, right? Big Rob's going to be playing Austin. Megan's going to be going up against the monolith that is Carlos's screen captured Jamie's team.
Except the big difference is he's got Herbert, and I don't have Herbert. That's the thing. That's about it.
Yep. And Jamie, you're playing Chase this week here, so.
Oh, I'm a big dog too. Like I am a 13-point dog.
Yep. So that's where we are. We got standings for those of you interested. We do have different leagues. Everybody makes the playoffs, so it doesn't really matter. But bragging rights as always. The Mark Straumis League, the Stash of Knowledge League, right? That's where we stand. So
and everyone makes the playoffs, so
everybody makes
really start winning until like week 14.
Right. So there's gonna be a ton of, and it's already started happening, right? Everyone's picking up stuff, reactionary, right? So there's gonna be tons of movement and stuff. Good fun. That is our fantasy update for the week. So for those of you who do fantasy football, feel free. You can always hit us up on Twitter. Jamie and Austin are big into it. Jamie's in like what 4 leagues this year? Did you do a work league as well?
Yeah, I got 4 this year.
You got 4 leagues? Okay.
I am literally 3-1 right now.
Austin, how are you doing overall?
4 leagues. I'm 1-3 right now.
I am
All
1-1
3 leagues
because I am in
Monday.
a singular league, and I'm just focusing all my efforts on that one league.
I got very lucky. I was up by 7 going into Monday night, and the guy had McCaffrey, so I was done. And McCaffrey didn't play, and he couldn't drop anybody, so he just got stuck. That's awesome.
I know.
Okay, I got so lucky.
I think Curtis has. I think Curtis is the one who's got McCaffrey, and he got stuck with him too. Yeah. So check those injury reports, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Aside from that, we had other things going on this weekend. So there was local wrestling like we talked about. Fountain City Pro had their most recent show, and Justice for All, this past Friday night. Unfortunately, Jamie has some family obligations. He couldn't make it out there. But I was there. Austin, you were there. Miss Heidi Howitzer was on commentary the whole time. Fantastic. Her and Hartzell's chemistry was outstanding, by the way. It was a good time.
Were they announcing it over the top?
No, it was for the recording, for the rebroadcast.
I know. It would have been great just to have them just.
No,
being
man.
loud
In-house commentary anywhere but Triple L is terrible.
That's fair.
Most indie
gimmick
commentary in general is really bad. Just because they'll like let anyone who asks do it, and people don't understand there's actually like a skill and things you need to do as a commentator. So you're not. But the other thing too is in-house commentary kind of kills the wrestling. like if you got the ref's back turned and the guys with the microphones in the house were like, "Oh, so and so sneaking up behind with the chair," like the ref can hear you, bro. You've got a microphone. They're in the room right now.
Right.
Everywhere but Triple L. Triple L, it's great because it's just comedians making fun of the wrestling that's going on.
So,
Great.
it was a good time. They set up so next show is going to be in October 18th, I want to say. And it's going to be Carry On. It's something Wayward Son. It's the Kansas leader.
Carry On Wayward Son. That's a song by Kansas.
I know. I don't know exactly what the name of the show is. I think it's like Wayward Son something in it, but it's based off of the Kansas song. October 18th, it will be crowning of a Fountain City Pro champion, Camaro Jackson versus All Steel Jay Fowler. So that'd be good. That'd be good times. Yeah, it's always good. It's always good to do some. It's been too long because their last show got postponed, and we've been kind of without other promotions lately here in Kansas City. So it's nice to get back to independent wrestling here in Kansas City. So
I should hopefully make the next one.
Absolutely. We'll talk more about that as we get along in October, guys. But also this weekend was a non-independent wrestling show that happened Saturday evening. Now, I put it out there briefly. And before we get to the picks, talk about the champion, okay? We're not going to talk about the pay-per-view yet, but I just want you guys to think about that. All Out this year, better than All In. I'm going to say yes. Quick answers. What do you have? Yes or no?
I'm going to say no.
Jamie?
I'm going to say no as well.
All right. We'll talk more about that in a second, but you guys want to know, is Jamie keeping that belt? Well, we'll see. So, first and foremost, we're going to...
Well, hold on. Allow me to say this.
Yeah.
There were, when we did this, there were 2 perfect cards for the matches that were listed. We had a bonus that wasn't a match, it was just a bonus. So it doesn't count as being imperfect or perfect. It was just a bonus.
Yeah.
We had 2 people who had perfect cards. Talk about knowing what was going to happen. And some of them were tough calls. It was a very, 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 very good and spirited competition for my baby.
Those 2 people were Jamie and the Tyrant Megan, unfortunately. We're going to redo how we do, basically because one of the picks didn't even happen because they changed. We're not going to do any pre-show matches anymore unless they're already announced like ahead of time. Like when they had like the Willow Statlander a couple pay-per-views ago, announced for it ahead of. Cool. We'll definitely do those. But we're not going to do this because I missed 2 matches. One of the matches we had no idea what it was, so we had to like exit out anyway. So anywho, it never makes a difference except for one time when I beat Megan by the pre-show match, which was fun.
Which here we are. Now you're wanting to make a change because it didn't benefit you.
I'll keep doing it. I don't give a shit. I think that we should. It's just until 5 minutes before the pay-per-view I feel like we don't know what these matches are, and even then we might not know. There's all of a sudden there's a match on the pre-show, right?
As long as we get most of them on the main card. I'm all about just doing the main card. I've been that like pro main card.
Yeah.
No, I like doing the pre-show though because a lot of times the main card we all end up picking the same stuff for most of it.
We get pretty close,
if not all of it.
All right, so also put it out there as best I can on if it'll be like this, like for example, there was reported by multiple outlets, and I did this like after I got home Friday night, right? So like midnight Friday night, well after Collision and Dynamite. So I figured the card was set. Anything that was announced would be good, right? I looked through like 5 different, reputable sites, 411 Mania, Fightful, all those stuff, right? For the final cards, right? And some of them didn't have anything listed, and a couple of them had these 2 matches. And I'm like, okay, obviously those are the 2 matches they're going to have on the pre-show. One of them, yes, the other one, not so much. So if there's a match that doesn't happen the way, we'll just exit out like we did this time. So we got rid of one of the picks. The variance we had was, first of all, we all missed the bonus this week or this month was, does somebody other than Camille come out to help Mercedes? Funny story, this was the last question I had before I hit my submit button because I was so wavering on this, but we all said yes and we all were wrong. So nobody
Did I say yes? I thought I said no on that.
No, everybody said yes. Everybody said yes.
Oh, damn. Oh, well.
Yep. No would have been the right answer. We got your bonus point, but none of us got that. And then we varied on, well, Austin took a Hail Mary, picked Takeshita to win the Continental title. Not a bad call.
That didn't work out in my favor.
Didn't work out. And we split on the Willow Statlander match. So Austin and myself both picked Willow. The Faulkners picked Statlander. Statlander was the victor. And that's what we come down to is tiebreaker. And Jamie was within 10 seconds of the right time.
10 seconds.
Which is, I don't care, all the bullshit we talk to each other, that's effing impressive, ladies and gentlemen. I think also you got around that one time. I think you were the next.
I thought I got
you were like 3 or 4 seconds off once, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I almost exactly nailed it one time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the only other time we've been like that close. We've gotten within like 25 or 30 seconds, but that close, that's impressive. So congratulations to the retaining champion. And it's good because Jamie needed to get somebody to win on Saturday, so it's good that he did because a lot of hell's going on in that household.
My football team decided they did not want to play on Saturday.
One of them, embarrassingly, just didn't even show up to their own stadium. So, anywho, congratulations. So, Jamie is going to retain the belt for another month because next pay-per-view is going to be October 18th. All right, pay-per-view. What you guys, let's talk about it. What were some highlights, lowlights? What'd you think?
So, highlight for me was Willow and Statlander.
100%. Yes. I'm right there with you.
I assumed y'all would probably be of the thing. And not to take away from the main event, which we'll get to in a bit. But
different.
Man, Willow and Statlander just, I want to say it over-delivered, but I think I personally expected that match to be great. They've got great chemistry. They're both great workers. And I felt like they were going to have a real fun street fight gimmick. But yeah, that exceeded my expectations. Not only was the match really good, they got the amount of time they needed to get for that kind of match. My only thing with it is just the old school wrestling fan in me, and this is why I picked Willow on the picks, which led me to picking Takeshita in the other match. I thought as the big blow off, the babyface should go over. Like, that's just old school pro wrestling. So once I saw that, I was like, Willow probably needs to win this. I looked at the rest of the card and was like, there's really not another title change. There's really not anything that looks like it's going to surprise you. Why not Takeshita win that 4-way? Okada doesn't have to get pinned because you're going to clearly build to Takeshita and Okada.
Sure.
Surprise with the title change. Did not go my way. But yeah, like going back to it, Willow and Statlander was absolute flames.
I could have swore that match was supposed to be for the CMLL championship.
I thought it was.
They don't allow the CMLL championship to be fought on in a street fight match.
In a non-traditional wrestling match.
Well, then they clearly should have
clarified that a little better. Because that's why I picked Willow. Because I was like, this is a CMLL championship match. She's not dropping that belt.
Yeah. And the whole thing at All In was that tag match, the mixed tag match they did. It was the winner gets to pick the stipulation for their CMLL title.
So, anyway, the booking black hole aside there, I love that everything. I still we have talked a lot, especially Jamie's talked a lot about Statlander, about how the perfect fitting was Stokely, because Statlander, and you saw that. I mean, the image of her doing the splits onto the tacks and her face selling of that still is just imprinted in my brain. It was You know me, I love my tags, and effective new uses of them are rare in 2024.
Yeah,
We
the
found
tax
a new
spot was
one.
great.
Tax to the
light
vag.
speed spot was great. My personal favorite spot of that entire match was the spear off the stage to the tables because they full sent that. And a lot of times you'll see it'll still look cool, it'll still look devastating, but you'll see them like take a real safe dive. No, they just went full on off the stage through the tables.
It was sick. So my whole thing about this match, and it was 100% my match of the night up until the main event. Like there were some great matches on this show. Like Pac, Ospreay tore the house down. But the big thing about this match for me, the most important thing, at least in my opinion, was this match went on right after Pac Ospreay.
Yeah.
Like right after. And usually you have a really high, like, oh my God type of match like that. You have kind of a cool down, right?
Yeah, do a tag match, do
these
something.
Girls were like,
nah,
hold my beer. And then they went at it with honestly, one of the best street fights I've seen, men or women, in a long time. You know, both those women put everything they could into it. I like the fact that Stokely got ran away, so it was legit just those two at the end. And like, Stat is amazing. Willow's amazing. Like, I knew that Stat was going to win the moment Willow won at All In. Like, you can't have one win. You can't have one win both. That was my whole thing.
I mean, you could, because that was a mixed tag match. That was Ishii beating the shit out of Stokely Hathaway. Like, that was kind of a loaded deck on Willow's side.
Stokely had himself a sick spine buster, though.
He did.
And it was a different type of match. I think you said at the beginning you don't want to compare him to. I think it stands out in a different manner than the violence in here was different than the violence in the main event. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was a different type of violence, right? And a different type of violence I wasn't expecting to have played on my TV was attempted homicide, by Jon Moxley.
Two attempted homicide.
Two attempted homicide. I mean, first of all, Danielson doesn't put on bad matches, right? And a really good match. Jack Perry looked great. The sells that Jack Perry did, like that last sell, that final Psycho knee, was one of the best sells I've seen on that move ever, right? And then here comes the BCC, who are stopping Christian from cashing in. Perfect time for Christian to cash in, right? And here comes the BCC, stop him, go in the ring, and the turn happens, right? And I love the fact that Wheeler's not involved in the turn. Love that. But, I mean, more was made of this in Dynamite. We can kind of postpone this, talk more about this on the Dynamite Talk if you want. But
yeah, I would like to put a pin in this.
Let's put a pin in that.
Really quick, before we put a pin in this, relating to this spot and the pay-per-view specifically.
Hold on a second. Jamie, they want a better look at the belt, by the way.
Oh.
Yeah, way to just step on my hot take.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to
I don't know if you can see it very well.
It's very shiny.
There we go.
Yeah, get that angle.
Look at my
you can talk over him. It's fine, Austin. Go ahead.
Yeah. So as a absolute enormous Terry Funk mark,
got that.
I don't hate the bag spot on principle. I absolutely hate that they did it right before the main event lights out match where two guys were going to try and kill each other. Did we have to get the attempted murder right before Hanger and Swerve? Like, could they have
split up a little bit
with them? Because I thought it kind of, and this is part of the reason why I enjoyed Willow and Statlander a little bit more than the main, and the main wasn't match night for me. The bag spot kind of took the wind out of the sails a little bit. Now, they did a bunch of really cool shit in that cage match, and it was still a very good, enjoyable match. But just them trying to kill each other just loses something after you just saw a different guy try and kill another different guy.
Okay. I don't know.
That's fair.
My boat had plenty of wind left to push it through because I ate up every last second of that cage match. Swerve coming out with the picture of Hangman sitting in front of his burning house imprinted on the back of his top. Hager coming out with the video of him burning his house, playing as his entrance, right? Both men were accompanied by like groups of guards. And just, I loved every second about this. It felt like an old school cage match, right? As they're dropping the cage, here's Nana trying to throw as many weapons as he can into it, right? So nobody's getting in or out. There's no like shenanigans going to be afoot. This is going to be a bloodbath, and bloodbath it was. Not as much blood as some of the previous matches, but just some of the sickness they did to each other. I want to know what that cinder block brick was made out of.
I'm pretty sure that was a shoot cinder block.
That had to be
that
was a shoot block because I mean that took a inverted pile driver, power slam and more, and was just perfectly fine.
I really enjoyed right at the beginning when they were trying to hold each other down to get decapitated by the cage as it was coming down. Nana shoves them in, and then just kind of unfortunately, the cage gets stuck around the ring, and it takes a few minutes to get it down the rest of the way anyway.
Yeah.
That made me laugh, which there's nothing you could do about it. Didn't take away from the match.
That's so pro wrestling.
Funny.
So.
The spot itself with them like rolling back and forth, trying to hold each other there to get their
decapitated by the slow moving cage.
That caught me so hard. Yeah, this, like you said, this match had such an old school feel to it. It felt like two guys that absolutely hate each other, beating the shit out of each other inside of a steel cage.
So you say that, and I think I said to you guys, they are yin and yang for each other. They get the absolute best out of each other. Like they're the new Rock Austin, whatever. Like who you can always go back to the well and always have such a amazing match, right?
Yep.
So you say that like it had that old school feel, right? And I'm starting to rack my brain. Like, when's the last time I remember two guys truly hating each other to this level? And the last time I can honestly think of it was Triple H and Randy Orton. But like the most popular one in my mind, I kept going back to over and over, was Dusty and Ric Flair.
I would throw another one from around the same time, maybe a little bit later out of that. I would go Tully Blanchard, Magnum TA.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
That was a good old school, put two guys in a cage that absolutely hate each other.
Yeah.
So they can beat the shit out of each other. And granted, it's not a hard association because Hanger's doing the work of trying to look like Magnum TA, which I'm all for. But that's what this reminded me of, was Tully and Magnum TA beating the shit out of each other in a cage.
I really like the Dusty Flair thing. That you're right. It's got that. Because Dusty Flair is something that up until Dusty died, it never really went away, right? It was always kind of there. Even though Dusty had no more wrestling and Flair was over the hill, there always was like little jibs and jabs and stuff. And this, it's like, and they both acknowledge that one completes the other, right? I mean, shit, on one of the I remember as a kid seeing, didn't the Four Horsemen kidnap Dusty Rhodes in the side of a parking lot somewhere at one point in time? I distinctly remember them looking for Dusty, and then you see him pull up to this like beside the building where they have like a little gravel parking lot right at the end of like a plaza, right? That's where Dusty was parked for something, and they pull up and they literally kidnap him and take his ass away, right? That's a fantastic reference, both of them. But I mean, the charred piece of the house, they had all the stuff, staple guns, but the ending though was just like, just in case you're too comfortable in your chair, we're gonna rip a man's grill out, have the other dude pierce his cheek with a hypodermic needle, and then impale him with a chair. bruh.
That was one of the stiffest unprotected headshots I've seen
Have you
in a minute.
you obviously have, but have you just to make sure, have you both seen like the videos of people recording it at the event?
Yeah.
That chair was so goddamn loud. We've been in that arena, Jamie.
Yeah.
It's not like a tiny ass little, no, it's a regular ass arena. That chair was wow.
And like what a perfect way to end that match. Because I don't think you could have ended it with a pinfall. Neither of those guys was gonna submit. The ref stoppage, it was so good that I've got to overlook my usual logic of this is unsanctioned. Why is there an AEW referee in there in the first place? Doesn't matter. Like
he's just there to count to 3. Count to 3? It's an unsanctioned match. But no, won by knockout.
Yeah.
That was the perfect way to end that.
Oh.
Hanger standing at the top of the ramp yelling, teasing like he was going to go back in there too. It was so good.
I think that's why I say it was better than All In. I feel like it was a lot more violent. I mean, from the opening when you had, MJF and Garcia, right? In the I'm going to break your neck open. And, the women's street fight. I think overall, I don't know. Maybe I was just feeling violence, right? And I feel that All Out was just a smidge better than All In this year. And it's so close. It's hard for me to say, but that's why I'm putting it on the top.
If you're just going with the in-the-ring action, I could see it being a pick'em, just a personal preferences or taste. Mm-hmm. For me, All In just, like I said when we talked about that show, it felt like what WrestleMania used to feel like. It just felt like such a big deal. You got that big moment of Bryan Danielson winning the title. Like there was.
Oh, I'm with you.
But yeah, as far as in-ring content, 50-50 could go either way.
Yeah.
Speaking of, are we going to talk about the other women's match at All Out?
What other women's match? I'm kidding.
No. Mercedes
Actually, it's
Shida.
To be a pattern.
Yeah, but before we I want to this end with this. So I'm the cinephile, right? I look at these two as different types of movies, right? So I felt like All In was beautiful, like just perfect. One of those just like that's an amazing movie. Heartfelt, had some pain in there and everything. So Steel Magnolias is the first thing that came to my mind. If you've ever watched Steel Magnolias, that is a beautiful movie. It's sad, it's got everything, but it's a really, really good movie. Then you have this All Out, which is dirty, a little disturbing, or a lot disturbing, but also equally as amazing. So, for me, it's 7. So Steel Magnolias and 7. Both of them are amazing. Just depends on what you feel like that day.
Apples or oranges.
That's fair, because All In felt like it was for AEW fans as well as the casual wrestling fan. All Out was for the sickos.
Present.
That's me.
Just want to sit there and blare and hate breed and just talk about the women's match. Let's go.
I think so. Here's the thing. Jamie loves himself some Sheeta. The ace. I love that she did that. She didn't pull her shirt off or anything this time, but
ace of the division.
I feel like for me, and you guys can tell me I'm wrong, I felt like this was Mercedes probably her best match in AEW.
No, you're not wrong. Felt the same way.
I thought it was up until towards the end when it started going off the rails a little bit. The spot where she took 3 katanas and then kind of kicked out at one, but it was more just like kind of got up and rolled out of the like that was real weird. And it felt like I don't know if she got knocked a little loopy or something, but like it just kind of fell off towards the end. But now that's back-to-back pay-per-views where the Mercedes match that we went into it thinking would be a pretty solid match was definitely the low point of the show.
I would say even that
Chris Jericho and Hook division for All In.
Touche. I don't know. I mean, it's kind of hard when you look at the rest of the card, especially from the All Out card, right? Something's got to be on the bottom, and I didn't feel like that was a bad match. I thought there was a couple, like you said, a couple spots in it. I think Mercedes looked better than she has for most of her run in AEW. Okay, I don't know best match probably right. I think. You didn't have partner sandbagging for one. Yes, you're right. But also she's kind of found a decent rhythm, right? This is a different type of wrestling than WWE. WWE, the entire match is scripted out and practiced and rehearsed, right? Most of the time. Okay. So it's a little bit different. Plus, I don't know. I feel like she's been trying to refine this new character. Ever since she's had the long layoff, and she was more focused on that than wrestling. So it just, to me, even though it was the least common denominator of everything else from this night, I still thought it was a good match for her, to have. Especially when you're not in really a feud. You got Throne Sheeta in a match, for the pay-per-view, so there's another women's match on the card, right?
Yeah,
I thought it was fine.
For me, just watching this one and going back and watching the All In match, which Britt Baker was sandbagging her. Like, what can you do there? I think the problem with Mercedes for me, because I know the talent's there. Like, I know she can go. I think the problem with me is she's done a good job of kind of rolling into the being a heel on the mic and backstage, pre-tapes and all that. She doesn't wrestle like a heel. She just goes out there, and it always looks like she's just out wrestling the babyface in the match. And I think that's where a lot of the disconnect comes from, is if you're going to be a heel, you got to wrestle like a heel. You should look like you're getting outmatched a little bit, unless you're like a Brock Lesnar or something like that, where you're just a brick shithouse that can kill everybody.
Yeah.
I would like to see her start wrestling a little bit more like a heel, instead of just acting like a heel everywhere else, and these matches just kind of being these just 50-50 wrestling matches.
Okay, I'm with you.
I get that. I see, like, because you want your heel to be heelish, right? And not just be a really good wrestler, which, but on the same token, Takeshita doesn't really do heel shit, and he's a heel. But people love him.
Takeshita doesn't win every single match he's in.
That's fair.
Like that's where the problem comes. Is like, all right, you're an asshole in character. Like, could be an absolutely sweet woman, never met her, but like no reason to think otherwise. But when it's like, oh, you present yourself as a heel and everything else, but you also just kind of just beat everybody. Like you lose some of the magic of pro wrestling in that.
That's totally fair.
Well, I really want Jamie to pull that pin out. Let's get to Dynamite, boys.
Yeah, I mean, that's how they started it. They pulled the pin right away, and then they put the pin back in for a hot second, and they pulled it back out. So we're just gonna pull the whole damn thing out.
It's a very busy pin, guys. Very busy.
It's a very busy. So Moxley started out on the show talking about Mr. Danielson, saying that he doesn't have the stomach to do what it takes anymore, and all these other things, and he's indisposed and not gonna be able to do things. That's also another piece. But what did you guys think about how he threw in William Regal without saying William Regal? Did you notice that?
He did a bunch of stuff like that. I love the video opening that they did for this so much. And not saying there's anything wrong with Moxley doing it in person, right? Because he's still tops in the game, right? But the video package was so good. He kept kind of talking about the mentor, the man. It never said William Regal, but he kept kind of insinuating about William Regal. And I appreciate that as a fan that has logic, like Austin tries to overpower us with at times. And we're like, whoa, buddy, right? Because there was a person who was integral for them teaming up, right? You know, why shy away from that? So I enjoy that. I just love his presentation throughout the video. Real quick here, a couple quotes he said. I am no hero. I am no villain. And he goes on to say in that same sort of things that there is one true, I am the one true king of these lands. I mean, lots of kind of smoke and mirrors coming through here. I loved all of this. Austin, what about you?
Yeah. So sometimes I've got to point something out because it legitimately bothers me. Sometimes I got to point something out just because it's funny. And this is the latter. Here was my problem with this opening pre-tape segment. Why did he get into the back hatch of that Jeep? There are only 4 of them in this Blackpool Combat Club. A Jeep can seat 5 in the front. I have one in my driveway. It's a full-size vehicle. Not only did he get in the back, but he closed that swingy hatch without putting the top mirror down. So clearly he doesn't know shit about Jeep operating. No, that popped me. Yeah,
Shocker.
I thought this was a good pre-tape. I really liked. He had his line about diplomacy failed, so now we're going to war. I like that Pac reiterated that same line later on in the night. Like, I like the cohesion in that. I just enjoy that there's a new direction for the Blackpool Combat Club or whatever they're going to call themselves going forward. It felt like they were spinning their wheels for a while. And so it seems like new direction now. It seems going back to All Out, not going all the way back to All Out, but like considering All Out as well, it does seem like AEW is finding a little more of an edge. Like it seems a lot of things are getting a little bit grittier.
I'm here for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the Twitters or the X's, whatever, is a buzz that somebody is pulling the strings on one Mr. Moxley and crew.
Yeah, the Shane McMahon theories will not go away. I don't care.
That's not who it is.
Oh, really?
I already know. I'm going to spoil it for everyone right now.
Okay.
Turn out the mastermind of the new BCC is Renee Paquette.
Oh, dude, that'd be so sick.
That would be amazing.
She's just like the evil overlord of the BCC. Now she's tired of everyone's shit backstage, and she's just sick of them on everybody.
It's the Eric Bischoff angle.
Yeah.
It's the fucking Bischoff angle in 2024. That's amazing. That's not
that
it.
would like obviously I threw that out there as a joke, but that would actually be pretty good TV. Like if it turns out Renee just got tired of everybody and is controlling the shit.
Do you guys care if it's Shane O'Mac though? Does it?
Please no. Like
so,
I voted on the poll. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just put out a poll out there. Shane O'Mac coming. Everybody who's watching, please vote. If you are listening, hit us up on Twitter at Total Spotfest. Let us know what you think of this. But I, gentlemen, think for the love of God and everything that is holy, please God, no. Like, I have nothing else I can possibly fathomly say that would make me like want him in AEW in any way, shape, or form. Unless he shows up in the turtleneck and says, I just bought it. And like shot for shot recreates the WCW.
WCW angle. Yeah, that'd be cool.
If he came in to just be behind the scenes and just help them run a pro wrestling business, like, I get it. A lot of knowledge there, a lot of experience. That's fine. I do not want to see Shane McMahon on my TV in 2024. I didn't want to see Shane McMahon the last couple times he popped up in WWE, none of which were good. But did anyone enjoy any of that?
No.
Like,
has anybody enjoyed Shane McMahon on TV since 2006?
You even think I enjoyed him in 2006?
I mean,
that's where I'm at. Like, yeah, I don't know if I ever.
I mean,
enjoyed it.
I will say the WCW angle and the kind of the post the intros after that were okay, and then after a while,
Yeah,
because I think it was 06 is when he took his bow out to go raise his boys, if I'm not mistaken. Give or take, somewhere around there.
I guess somewhere around like 2000, like 2 or 3-ish was when Kane electrocuted his nuts with the car battery. Like that was all right, but
I mean, I think we all personally enjoyed that a little bit too much.
Yeah.
We don't need Shane McMahon as weird baby punches. Have you ever watched the way he punches in the ring?
Oh. Well, that's the
Please
thing.
no.
My thought is, what does he really add to it, right? Because I think that, like Heather brought this up here, that the way
I want to get to that.
Well, let's get to it. So Heather brings up, the way he kept telling Darby he doesn't understand, makes her think that's something more than just Mox being evil, right? I agree with that. He says there's things that I don't have time to explain. There's all this stuff, right? So all the insinuation is that there's definitely a bigger order at work here. My problem is I don't know if it's not Shane O'Mac. Who is it?
I would rather it was just John Moxley saying crazy shit because he's insane.
I like that. That would be a good way to go with it.
I'd be fully on board with that. Just please not Shane McMahon. Here's the thing with the Shane McMahon rumors. I don't really think those are coming from people that watch weekly and really enjoy AEW.
No.
I think those are coming from primarily WWE fans who casually check in on AEW and are used to that WWE style of storytelling of, hey, look, this guy you haven't seen forever shows up. It's a big deal with no reasonable context around it. I mean, I'm sure there's probably a handful of AEW fans that really want to see Shane McMahon, and I literally mean a handful, like 5 or less. But he adds nothing to the on-screen product.
Heat, maybe
at all.
Maybe heat.
They don't need that. I think they got it good right now.
I don't say they need it. I'm just trying to think of what would be the reason to do it.
And then honestly, with what Mox is doing and this higher power thing, like there's things going on that you can't comprehend. Like that line stuck with me too. Like there is more at play. And I feel like, since the Warner Brother deal, is legit imminent, is what they keep saying. They're on the 1 yard line of this record-breaking TV deal, which hopefully means it's on Max. Please, God, have it on Max. Because I would love to watch some of the old stuff. But there's something, and I cannot for the life of me figure out who it could possibly be that's not Shane McMahon.
Exactly.
And that's the thing that pisses me off, because I'm like, I know it's not him. Like I think I've came to terms like there's no way in hell it's gonna be him. I think that's just a bad move for everybody. Then who is it?
The only other thing I could go ahead. What do you say?
I said Turner.
Won't be Bischoff because he hates AEW. Even though he'll go there multiple times.
Bischoff has been in AEW before, right? He has made appearances. It's done Dick nothing. It doesn't really matter, right? I would say the only other angle I could think of, and this is unfortunate because again, I think at the end of the day, I don't really give a shit if it's Shane O'Mac, as long as he's not really. I don't know. I have a feeling that Mox would overpower him anyway, in personality wise, and Shane would be here for 2 weeks and then we'd disappear. The only other option I would say, other than Shane O'Mac, which is a stretch, I know, is Tony Khan.
I would actually be on board with that.
Tony Khan's afraid of the Bucks and their influence. He got CD, he got this, he's got the networks to kind of back him up, but he can't get out there and actually fight them.
Yeah, but I don't want him to be a TV personality.
I don't want him either, but that's the only other option I can think of. I like the idea that you had, Best, that it's just John being crazy. There's nobody else. Cool.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say a minute ago, I don't think introducing anyone that Mox is answering to at all makes sense for Mox as a character.
No.
Like, he's not a follower.
Or Claudio or Pac.
Yeah, I mean, Claudio and Pac, I like the idea of them following Mox.
Yes.
He's kind of the alpha of the group that's going to around beat the shit out of everybody, but they're clearly like their own guys. I don't know who you could put above him that doesn't immediately diminish Mox as a character. Except for Renee. Because that would actually make sense.
Renee is awesome.
I hate to say, like, as soon as you said that, I'm like, oh, what? That's amazing. I mean, like, they can't do anything stupid, like Danhausen or anything, which, where the hell's Danhausen? Is he even under contract anymore? I feel bad for him because they just didn't even use him.
I think he's technically under contract. I have no idea.
He's
That's a good point, Rob. Thank you. Yeah.
Still showing up around the Indies. He just teamed with Maki against Bussy.
Yeah, First Wrestling.
First. Yeah, no, she's saying first.
Yeah.
What if it's Omega?
Again, like, why would Mox be answering to Omega?
Because he's an EVP.
Yeah. You say that, but I can see Mox just walking up and slapping the shit out of the Bucks. Like, that's in his character to do.
It's the anonymous GM. Hell yes. It's Hornswoggle, guys.
Well, hopefully we'll get it figured out sooner rather than later. But most likely we're going to have to wait till at least Grand Slam before any sort of... That's the other thing. Grand Slam is in New York City, right? So... Yeah. Unfortunately, if somebody else is involved in this group in a managerial capacity, all signs point to Shane O'Mac, which makes me hopeful because it seems if that obvious, it can't be him, right?
Yeah, I'm still just hoping that there's not a overlord of this group. I don't think it's set in stone that it needs to be. One, like, it literally, Mox could just be the ramblings of a madman, which he just portrays as on TV, and that would make sense. I did really like Darby's line, and I mostly did not enjoy Darby's promo, but I like Darby's line about, have you started drinking again?
Dude, that was
great.
What do you want? What do you want? It's like, am I watching am I watching Point Break right now? Like, what's going on?
How come every Darby promo always has to feature the, I was living in a car with nothing but my worldly possessions. And yes, we know. We
Every time he says that, what comes to my mind? I'm living in a van down by the river.
That's what happens if you don't watch stuff, and you'll be living in a van down by the river. That's what you get. You're smoking those doobies. Look at me. I am divorced.
I like when Darby was like, and then you stabbed him in the back. I would have never done that to Sting. Bro, Sting would beat your ass if you tried that.
Yeah, I know.
Like Pink Sting did not give a fuck about anybody, right?
No.
All right, let's get to the rest of the show. So we'll find out more. The overwhelming majority. Well, there's a couple of people who are like, it would be cool. Okay. So not everybody's against it, looks like, in our poll. Let us know.
So after this, you had Our Father and the Patriarchy. And, I've missed Christian. Like, he hasn't been on Dynamite a whole lot lately, and like lately it's like he's back, and it's like it's beautiful. It's beautiful, gentlemen. And he wishes Bryan Danielson has CTE.
No,
like, that popped me so hard. I'm like, oh my god, you are evil in the best way.
He wished Bree has CTE.
Oh, Bree, yeah, sorry, Bree.
How bad he would beat up Bryan Danielson.
It's so good.
Even better. Even better.
The fact that he just, like, he has been on like an 18-month peak that shows no signs of coming down. Because a year ago we were talking about, like, we want him to keep the TNT title for a while, but like eventually it'll get old or something. No, never gets old. He just keeps getting better and better and better. I forgot to mention as well, we were talking about All Out. I saw a tweet like immediately after All Out that said Christian was just coming down to warn Bryan Danielson that the BCC was about to turn on him and he wasn't acting in his contract.
Oh my God.
He's so good.
I mean, there's not much more you can say about it. I mean, everything was perfectly done. Puts over the Luchasaurus. I mean, yeah, the whole like kill switch finally, seeing that he's a killer, he's a monster, and he's mine, right? And it's all basic, plain stuff, right? But it's just so well delivered because Christian is amazing. So
he's doing such good work that as much as like they absolutely shouldn't do this, I wouldn't be sad if he cashed that in, took the belt, and retired Bryan Danielson.
I mean,
because he would make gold out of it.
That'd be cool. They're not going to do it. Right. You're right.
No,
but that'd be cool.
No, it's Mox. I had this conversation with somebody outside of this, and they didn't want it to be Mox. They wanted to be some young guy, and I'm like, I don't want Darby at all. Like, and I 100% agree with Mox. He's not ready, but that's just me. Maybe because I'm a little biased. But like we're talking about that, and he's like, it has to be anybody. I'm like, no, like Mox makes sense. It's good for business, especially if I'm going to Japan. Like, I'm having a wrestling show in Japan. Like, give him Danielson versus Moxley for that damn belt.
Oh, they're doing that in October. You know that. That's going to be a Wrestle Dream.
It's going to be a Wrestle Dream, but I want it at Wrestle Dynasty.
Well, I know you want it there. It's not going to happen there. Mox is going to beat him in Tacoma.
I'm not so sure about that.
Same.
I think with as hard as they tried to make it, and they even sowed some doubt in members of this panel that Danielson was going to lose it all in. I could very much see them doing all this to stack the deck against Danielson to where you really think he's going to lose at Wrestle Dream and he pulls it out. I think he's holding that belt until Japan in January.
You think the return match against Mox in Japan?
Could be Mox, could be Okada, could be Omega.
I think you're gonna have Okada Takeshita.
I think that's happening at Wrestle Dream.
See, I think that's happening
at Wrestle Dream.
I think that's happening in Japan.
Good.
Because remember, it's an AEW show. Yeah. It's not a co-branded show. It's an AEW show. It's part of the whole weekend of stuff.
But it's co-branded.
Is it a co-branded show?
I'm pretty sure it's co-branded.
I thought it was AEW's show on the tail end of like night 1 is Wrestle Kingdom, night 2 is Dynasty or whatever, Wrestle Dynasty.
Yeah, I think it's co-branded.
Is it co-branded? Okay. Yeah. Rob says it was co-branded. Okay, well then
it's co-branded.
I take that all back then. Okay. None of those matches we mentioned are going to happen. You're not going to have Mox and you're not going to have Mox versus. I mean, you could still if you do it all that way, you could do Mox Danielson in Japan. I feel like they're going to not do that. I feel like they're going to get the belt off him in Tacoma. That's my thought.
That's too soon. And I know he needs neck surgery and all that, but they can milk it with him.
I know he needs neck surgery and all that, right? This is the man who
whatever. At least that's what they're telling us. That's what they're spinning at us, man. I'm just repeating what I hear from Excalibur, okay? Excalibur says it's gospel.
Are you gonna start going?
Speaking of gospel, gentlemen.
Then? Okay. Sorry.
Yeah. Speaking of gospel, so it was foretold at one point that one Will Ospreay would owe Don Callis a favor. This is not what I had in mind when they had the favor.
Same.
Because it felt very face-ish, and I don't like Don Callis doing face things.
I mean,
at all.
The family's face, they're turning face in general. Have you seen Trent Beretta recently, right? Where's he been? He hasn't been around. Okay.
Well, he got a second neck surgery or third or fourth.
I know he's injured, but he's not here. That's not the point. I mean, you're lining up it's that long, slow turn for facedom for the Don Callis family.
I don't know.
It's not
I think it might be a
permanent.
setup.
I do too.
I think there's a good chance at Grand Slam, Kyle Fletcher and Will Ospreay by association, even though he's already out, gets jumped out of the family. And I don't think they win. Well, we'll get to the main, and
there was a Mark Davis reference at the very end, kind of thrown out there in this promo.
See? Like my thought about Mark Davis and how they were going to do that. Like
Kind of
here it
supplant
is.
Fletcher with Davis.
there's also someone else that's supposed to be returning. Was supposedly backstage at Dynamite a few weeks ago and is getting close to a return.
Was that Hobbs?
Powerhouse Hobbs.
He had a promo, didn't he? Was that today or I saw a promo from him recently? I don't remember when.
I know I saw an interview with him recently.
It might have been
I don't know if
something. It might have been online.
AEW in
Yeah.
character thing. I know it's all like an interview with him, but
Yeah, I think it was like AEW social media or something like that.
you can't turn Don Callis face.
No.
He's just too good as a heel. I see this as a lead up to get Kyle Fletcher out of the family and maybe regroup, rebuild the family a bit, which I wouldn't be sad about.
Okay.
But,
Or do you want that? Or is this a setup to basically get back and just beat the shit out of Will Ospreay because he turned his back on the family?
see, I think that's going to happen. I think Kyle Fletcher's getting beat up too.
You think
Kyle
Fletcher's
Fletcher
going to be involved in it? He's not going to. Okay. All right. Just checking. Just checking. All right.
Yeah.
He's too over. Like that would, I feel like what the momentum Kyle Fletcher has right now, if he doesn't stay face with it, I feel like it just ruins all of his work that he's been doing.
But
Well, the other problem,
but you are attaching him to Will Ospreay's coattails then,
that's fine.
which is not a bad thing. It's what he's been doing his whole career basically in Japan. I know.
I think the
But
other problem with Kyle Fletcher right now is he is a bit redundant in the Don Callis family because you've already got the guy you are dying to turn face and leave the family in Takeshita.
true.
So it's weird to have two of that guy. And I think Takeshita, you can get some more legs out of him as a true heel for a while. Kyle Fletcher just needs to be a babyface right now.
All right. Okay.
Couldn't agree more. So, in the main event, we have the Casino Battle Royale Gauntlet Tag Team Eliminator for the World Tag Team
Tag
World
Team
Championship.
Casino Gauntlet match. Okay.
Sorry, I'm just so used to AEW having ridiculously long names.
They have the longest names ever.
Stuff.
But that women's tournament during the pandemic where we found out about Maki Ito, the Japan versus America. That was like 85 words. That tournament name is stupid.
Yeah, the International Women's Cup of Internationalities. Yeah, like it was some craziness. All right, so after that, though, ladies and gentlemen, Jack Perry and Lio Rush.
Wrestling.
Yes. First match. I love Lio Rush, and what Jungle Man Jack Perry's been doing lately is the Lord's work. So,
Yeah.
I got nothing bad.
I really like Jack Perry pulling up in his FedEx truck, as Heather called it in the chat, walking to the ring, beating some ass, and then just driving off into the sunset.
Yeah. Walking straight back. Didn't even slow down walking his ass out. Didn't turn around, look at the ring or shit. Just casually walked his ass all the way to the back. Blows past Marvez. Basically says burp. Gets in his truck and leaves. Fantastic.
Did y'all catch during this match commentary noting that Aubrey got pulled into the Bucks office earlier? And we never really got some follow up on that. I felt like there was a lot of shit tonight that was like planting little seeds to come back to later. But it was like a throwaway line, but I feel like that's going to lead to something as well.
Is she gonna be like the NWO's official referee?
I would actually be super down for her being in the pocket of the Elite.
The Elite's ref. Yes.
You get a lot of hate for Aubrey online as it is. Like a lot of fans like to talk shit about Aubrey.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. Like, she's got some personality as a ref, which historically in wrestling you don't get from your refs, but it's not over the top. It adds to the show. It doesn't take away.
She also got a lot of fans because of that, which is
Yeah.
unique for a ref as well.
So lean into it. Like,
Yeah,
make the female ref the one in the pocket of the elite.
You know what her original Twitter handle was before she changed it to Ref Aubrey?
What?
Girl Hebner.
That's right. I was gonna say I remembered it was something clever, but it's been years. I forgot. Actually, Aubrey came through when I was at Rocky Mountain Pro and refed a few shows with us.
Oh, sweet. I think you talked about that before. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I would like to see that be part of as well. Her be it like maybe even if it's not super on the nose, but let it burn for a while where there's some questionable calls. You started with the foot under the rope thing with Roddy and Hook, which is not attached to the elite at all, but just start planting some seeds, and then let's get a heel ref.
Oh, dude, I'd love it.
Layers. Depth.
I would absolutely love it.
Strada.
Speaking of depth of a character, the attempted murderer himself, Adam Hangman Page, backstage with Renee Paquette. Speaking of,
is it attempted murderer or suspected arsonist?
Yes.
He's not a suspected arsonist. He's a confirmed arsonist. We watched the shit.
I have not seen any police reports filed on
CGI,
this.
guys.
Okay.
It's CGI.
You know?
It's still arson, whether or not he gets charged with. Like he did an arson.
I mean,
I do gotta say, quick shout out to Tony Khan for being committed to the bit and saying he spent all night trying to get Hanger cleared to go wrestle because he was in trouble with the authorities.
Hashtag committed to the bit, baby.
It's the details, man.
Hanger promo. Let's go.
Yeah. What'd you guys think?
It's fine. It didn't really tell us anything new. It kind of gave a little bit of hint, right? Because he mentioned that anybody that had gotten in the way of him and Swerve. So, because your question is, what does Hanger do? Where does he go from next, right? Somebody on the level of Hangman, Swerve, all these guys, right? If they're not in the world title picture and they don't have a clear defined feud, what the hell are you doing with them, right? So you got to define that for the masses, okay? So they defined it for Hanger. He's going after whoever got in his way on his way to Swerve. I like the little interaction with the Dark Order, right? A little callback there. And then out comes JEFF. JARRETT.
God bless him.
That's so perfect. Your face.
I love what they're doing with Jeff Jarrett.
I actually do.
He just got yeeted.
I actually do too. This is fine.
And I really appreciate that Hanger immediately, Heather put it in the chat. Jarrett cut his little promo. Hanger immediately started throwing hands. And Hanger just beat the shit out of Jeff Jarrett because Hanger should beat the shit out of Jeff Jarrett. And this is coming from the world's biggest Jeff Jarrett fan. Like, it wasn't let the old guy get his licks in or something. No, it was here's some fists, go eat some chairs. We're done. And then Hanger yelled, "Who asked you?" So good.
I love it. I love it. It's a crazy person walking around.
I feel like between that and what we saw earlier with Mox, down the road, not sometime soon, but this has to lead to this iteration of Mox and this iteration of Hanger running into each other.
Oh yes.
I need that.
I think you will because you can't just do Hanger Swerve continuously, right?
Right.
You gotta put it on the shelf, take it back out. Pull it on the shelf, take it back out. You know, we just can't have that. Like, corrections can't last more than 4 hours.
Swerve and MJF are taking time off right now. MJF is filming a movie. Swerve deserves
He
break.
deserves a break. But I'm just saying, but that's just the whole point. I'm all for it. So, hell, have it end with Hanger getting the belt. And that's when Swerve comes back. And then buckle up, Buttercup. Let's go.
Yeah, speaking of time off, I appreciate that AEW has such a deep roster that you can just give guys an indeterminate amount of time off.
Yeah.
And it's good for the show as well. I don't need to see the same people every single week or every other week. I would be fine if we didn't see Swerve. Like, I assume you're going to have him in Tacoma, so he's probably coming back sooner rather than later, but I wouldn't be sad if we didn't see Swerve for a good, 2 months.
Yeah.
And then bring him back into something good.
Yeah, I think the next play, though, here's the problem. His next play, if you're thinking about people who got in his way, it's the Elite and Okada. But it looks like they're setting up Okada for something else. So who else got in the way?
Insert whatever they inserted Jeff Jarrett out of nowhere, right? He put his hands on Karen Jarrett one time for something that I don't even remember what it was, right?
Yeah.
You plug and play whoever. They could do a whole thing with the Dark Order, right? Evil Uno even said a thing, I'm not even don't know who you are anymore, right? Have a little falling out, do that for 2-3 weeks, cool, right? It doesn't really matter to me right now because the broad stroke, and I like the idea of him going through the Elite. You can run that out for as long as you need to until you're ready to move him into something like Moxley or wherever, right? I don't know.
A lot of options. We made this comment months ago, and I feel like this was another one of those episodes that had a real Attitude Era vibe to it. But the high points of the Attitude Era, not necessarily the kind of bad stuff that no one wants to remember.
Bikini Jello wrestling.
It seems like
pudding. Sorry.
It kind of seems like chaos. You've got two unhinged dudes just running around backstage beating people up. You've got multiple interactions with different people. It makes it interesting though. I enjoy that we're sitting here asking what could be next, and there's not really a bad answer. And it could go into something we're completely unexpecting, and that would be rad too.
And then you get the learning tree.
The fact that he busted out the orange stained jacket was absolutely great. But in addition to that, the whole penny thing I thought was dumb. I hated that spot.
Yes.
I loved it. Like I said, that's Attitude Era. You wreck a vehicle every once in a while.
How did he wreck anything? Maybe there's a couple little scratches on the hood, right?
Yeah. Hey, man, that's a Bentley. Did you not hear Big Bill yelling? That's a Bentley.
I know. That's
a Bentley.
That's a $300,000 convertible. I know. I'm very familiar with Bentleys, okay? And he comes up with this... you could have done more with this, all I'm saying.
I do wish he would have opened up a thing of orange juice and poured it in on the interior or something. That being said, really quick, the highlight of the whole learning tree segment for me, which makes me think we're starting the final chapter of the learning tree. It's not going to go on forever. When Jericho pulled the picture out of the backpack and was talking about, that's your problem, Orange Cassidy. Friends are only there to eventually stab you in the back. Did y'all see Big Bill's face?
No, I missed it completely.
Big Bill turned and started staring at Jericho like, wait, what? Like he didn't trust him. And now all I want in the world is a backstage segment where Big Bill and Luchasaurus are sitting together like, wait a minute, are we the bad guys? And then they just go on attack.
Oh, yes.
But yeah, if you get a chance to catch that on social media or something.
Yeah, I'll have to go back and rewatch that.
Look at Big Bill's face when Jericho says that about having friends. They're only there to stab you in the back. Brian Keith no-sells it, which makes sense for the character. But yeah, Big Bill turns and stares a hole through Jericho when he says that. Give me Big Bill as AEW champion. Give me Big Bill retiring Bryan Danielson.
Big Bill or Jeff Jarrett. That's about it.
Maybe Big Bill's the higher power. That's pulling the strings of Mox.
There you go. I mean, Big Bill is over right now. Even though he didn't get the loudest pop of the night, we're gonna get into that in a minute.
Oh yeah.
So after this, you had Ricochet and Sammy Guevara.
Since we had a good Guevara.
Yeah, it's been a minute. I'm a little out of practice, but this is exactly what I expected out of this match. I knew it was gonna be flippy spinny. I knew there wasn't gonna be like any technical wrestling, but it was gonna be fun for my eyeballs, and it absolutely was.
Yes, we're gonna do more crazy shit. Try and top this, and they did. And you had spots on the ramp. You had just spot. Oh god, I loved it.
Yeah, it was exactly what you expected. It was a spot fest, which they're very good at doing that. And cool, we saw it. Sammy got his flips in. He did the job. Now go back to Ring of Honor where I don't have to see anymore.
Yep,
please, for all of us.
Yep. Plus,
but
you're not
bring your wife over.
I mean, and we're not rushing Guevara versus Ospreay, which I appreciate that. I mean, sorry, Ricochet versus Ospreay, where I got my flippies mixed up, which I appreciate that. You said Beast Mordos, that's the next person who's going to fight, right? And you're giving just a little note. Ricochet had a little bit of an edge there. His ending, not flippy spinny, right? That sick axe kick, right? Yeah, good stuff. So let Ricochet kind of work his magic, get some good... And that's great for the live crowd, right? You're paying to go to a wrestling show. You want to see stuff like Ricochet live.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Absolutely.
And I guarantee, I'm calling it now, Mark Stradamus guarantee, I don't have my hat, but you will have Ospreay versus Ricochet at Wrestle Dynasty. That's where that match is happening.
Okay.
On Japanese soil.
I think it comes sooner.
Better not. That's perfect. That's the perfect location. I think
that's the soonest it should be. I think it's the soonest it should be, especially if you have a Fallout thing with the Don Callis family angle, right? With Ospreay. I mean, it's middle of September, boys. So we got Grand Slam 2 weeks. We got a month to Wrestle Dream.
So you have Wrestle Dream, Full Gear.
Full Gear, which is in November?
Yep. And then you have World's End.
And then it'll be World's
End. And don't
End.
forget, we got to sprinkle in our last WWE event of the year of Survivor Series.
Survivor Series?
Forget. And I plan on ending 2024.
Survivor Series. What's their new moniker for Survivor Series, Jamie?
What?
William Regal would be so disappointed in you. God damn.
Oh, War Games. Sorry.
Thank you. Jesus
you have to
Christ.
say it first. You have to say it first, and then I
have to say War Games first, and you follow. Okay, all right.
Yeah, I think we're getting Ospreay and Ricochet at Full Gear, if not at Wrestle Dream. I think they're paying way too much attention to it right now to not get to that sooner rather than later.
They're going to be fighting for the tag team titles at Grand Slam, and then they're going to have to defend them at Wrestle Kingdom. I think they're getting the titles.
They're not winning those belts.
They're not winning those belts.
They're not winning those belts.
We shall see. All right. Let's keep it going.
Speaking of how you brought up the Don Callis family, they confronted Mr. The Rainmaker, Kazuchika Okada, his official name. And Okada, again, the walking meme that he is, was crying and talking about how easy it was to retain his title. I thought that was absolutely well done. And then here comes Don Callis with Takeshita, and they are pushing that hot and heavy at us, and I cannot wait to see it.
Absolutely. We glossed over it. We were talking about All Out, just because there was so much good stuff. But that four-way was flames.
Four-way was amazing.
That four-way was just phenomenal match.
no match missed. I mean, if you wanted to say that Mercedes was the low point, sure, but none of them missed. Like, it was still enjoyable.
Maybe the tag match, but that was still fun, right?
I
The triple
enjoyed
threat
the
tag.
match.
What?
Are you talking about
I liked everything.
No, are you talking about Bucks versus BCC?
No,
Yeah.
I'm talking. Yeah.
Yeah,
I thought it was great though. I mean, so you had the tag match, the international, you had the Ospreay match, MJF, the Continental 4-Way was amazing. I mean, everything pretty much fucking slapped on that card.
Yeah, it was how does Jessica say this? Skibbity, Ohio, Skibbity baby Gronk Riz, Ohio.
What?
You're
Are you
welcome.
having a stroke?
I think he is.
Dude, I feel like it when I talk to her. Like, she says this stuff to me, like, I don't even know what you're saying to me.
That's a
I
freshman
bet,
in
like,
high
that's
school
what my parents
talking.
felt
to
like
them.
I said rad tubular and stuff like that. Like, that's gnarly. Like, I'll bust that over now and again, but, like, my parents, like, yeah. I bet they're
Skibbity
like, what the
Raz
hell is-
Gronk, Ohio.
Skibbity Riz, baby Gronk, toilet water, Ohio, whatever. It means good,
Wow.
I guess. I don't
Wow.
know. Dude, like, I need a fucking translator to talk to my
That's
own
too
kid.
many syllables. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that sounds like a foreign language at this point.
Kind of is, man.
Have you been on TikTok? Okay.
I'm not on TikTok, and that's
Dope.
a big reason. I don't need to keep up with what the youths are doing.
Youths. These two youths.
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 What the hell? What the hell's a Ute?
At some point last year, I had to have one of my coworkers explain to me what Riz meant. Because they said that, and I was like, I don't know what that word is. And they were like, if a gentleman is trying to impress a lady, that's like Riz. And I had to tell this coworker, I have not been in the market for a lady in the better part of a decade. But going back to when I was, I'm pretty sure using Riz words like Riz would not help your case.
Yeah. Look at the Riz on this guy.
You dry up that pond, man. Yeah.
Ooh.
And Riz is short for charisma.
Just like first time I heard people like populating fit, right?
Yeah, fit check.
That I get. Like, all right,
it's your outfit, right?
that's like you're abbreviating. Like, okay, I get it, but like,
Well, Riz is the same thing as charisma. Riz.
every
they
time
just
I
find-
hear Riz, I
they-
think of
they're
Riz
just
as a
finding-
rap from the Muppets.
Somebody cool finds a word and then takes a part of it and makes it happen, right? That's the
Yeah.
way that these
Like-
use work.
Yeah,
This conversation is very demure. Very, very,
very mindful.
cutesy.
Very mindful. Yeah.
like these kids
Not
today,
so much
they
ch-
don't have good role models. We were running around calling everyone a jabroni, and that was rad.
Yeah.
And
That
now they're
was.
using weird words like Riz and demure and
Yeah. Calling
no.
people jabroni and telling people to suck it. Okay.
Yeah.
That was.
Fuck it. And then if somebody wanted you to do something, you're like, oh, hell yeah. You know, like, oh, man.
Hey,
Yeah.
where'd you get that hat from? Where'd you get the? Oh, right here. There it is.
Yeah.
Bam. This has been generation
Cross chop so many people.
It's been Generation Gap, brought to you by Total Spotfest.
Yes.
Little
yes.
Chi-Chi, no Chocho.
So we've already talked about the whole Moxley thing. But to put the final pin in that, Moxley's gonna be facing Darby at Grand Slam for his #1 contender spot. He's gonna teach him a lesson the hard way. Blah blah blah. But this is not the most important announcement that came out of Dynamite, gentlemen. I'm all about long-term storytelling, and
Jeez.
we got
Talk about
seriously
long-term.
long-term storytelling. Nigel McGuinness goes into the ring and announces that yes, he is challenging Bryan Danielson for a match for that title at Grand
He didn't say it was for the
Slam.
title. He didn't say it was for the title.
yeah, it's not for the title.
The non-title match, evidently. But they fight.
So, like for me, this was kind of a don't look a gift horse in the mouth situation because, yes, give me Nigel and Dragon, absolutely. You're putting over their long term storytelling. but I need to apply some logic and get on their short-term storytelling, because not an hour earlier, Jon Moxley walked to that ring and told me Bryan Danielson cannot compete at Grand Slam because he is indisposed on account of getting murdered at All Out. Which, okay, a little bit of a bait and switch. Give me Mox and Darby. Okay, I'm there. Only for an hour later for Nigel not just to walk out and challenge Danielson, but to say, I went to Tony Khan and got this contract approved. What are we doing here? Like, could we not have laid this out a little bit better?
You could just come out and say,
wait a week.
Hey, you know how we gave that title shot to anybody and Darby won it and he's going to get the title shot? We don't really want him to have a title shot, so we're not going to do that. So here's 2 new matches for you guys. That's, that's what they did in a nutshell. But
they got cold feet.
They just last minute got an idea for a really good card for Grand Slam, or like, oh, we'll just retcon it all on TV, which is fine.
We'll fix it in post.
Put a little bit more effort into that. Have Darby. You could have that same interaction with Mox without saying something about Bryan Danielson. Have Mox come out, challenge him, talk shit to Darby, and they could push the title match off to Wrestle Dream or something. Like, just do something, because this felt super lazy and low effort. Even though I am beyond psyched for the match.
And Big Rob puts it out there that they put a whole asterisk that if Danielson can compete, right? They have that asterisk there. Does anybody believe he's not going to be in New York? And you're not going to finally get that?
He'll be there.
They want to sell tickets to Arthur Ashe Stadium. Tony Khan's a mark. This is going to happen.
I feel like there's very few times that AEW just completely misses. There's shit that doesn't work. There's stuff that's not great. I feel like the absolute worst thing you could do is advertise Dragon and McGuinness. They even put a graphic up of it later. You cannot bait and switch that. Like, you just can't.
No, it's going to happen. Yeah, there's no, the asterisk is just pay no attention to the asterisk.
Yeah, you can't advertise that and not. You could advertise almost any other match in the company. You can't advertise that and not give it to us. That's just bad promoting.
Agreed. I agree. But you know what is good promoting?
What is good promoting?
The work that Mariah May is doing right now.
Anything Mariah May touches.
I mean, I enjoyed this match against Queen Aminata. It was great to see her on live TV.
And
that was a nice little continuation of the pre-show 0 hour. Mariah May again is, but she called out Mina Shirakawa. She needs her Mina in order to do her celebration. Is that her next feud?
I think so.
I mean, it's an interesting kind of way to get to it, I felt like the promo would have been better as an actual promo, right?
Yes.
To do that. And first of all, I want to give Queen Aminata, I'm trying to give her some props, because she's been doing a lot of work in ROH, and really good stuff. And it's good to see her, even though kind of the way they set up the story, it was a little like why are you? I know she's from Chicago, but why do you have an injured Sky Blue out there if it's not to be a prop, on the pre-show for All Out? Like what? Anyway, whatever. But yeah, I just want to give her a little props there. But I think it's got to be. But I would have rather seen it just as, because it just felt a little weird after she's rolling around on the mat, and then she. I don't know. It could have been. I think it would have been better as an actual promo, personally. But yeah, Mina for sure.
What if she says Mina's coming and she plans a celebration? She gets out there, and then Tony Storm literally walks out with Mina Shirakawa's head.
I mean, as dark as AEW's been,
Jamie over there.
Yeah, that just popped me. I'm like, oh, that'd be such a great spot.
Not that I want any ill to befall Mina Shirakawa.
It is almost October, and Jamie has not revealed to us what we're doing in October yet. So,
Oh yeah, we got a couple weeks got to figure that out. Which also, speaking of, like, we probably need to come up with a prop bet for week 3. I think week 3 is our first prop bet for fantasy football. By the way,
All right. We'll think about that.
Really quick, before we move on from this match, this was a big letdown for me, only because they missed a huge opportunity to really put some star power behind Queen Aminata. I thought you had an opportunity to make her look like a bigger deal. This felt not like a squash, but Mariah May is the kind of heel champion that can fight from underneath for a lot of it. So pull it out at the end, that's fine. I thought this ended up just being a match. Queen Aminata just gets beat and probably just goes back to ROH for a while.
Yeah.
But she can be a big piece of this division. And I thought they had a huge opportunity to make her look like a bigger deal and just kind of didn't. Because I'm a huge fan of Queen Aminata. She's got an awesome look. She's solid in the ring. Like, yeah. I just wish she would have beat Mariah's ass a little bit more before taking that loss and started working her way into the non-ROH women's division.
And again, we said this, I think all three of us have said this at some point or another, right? You keep doing these eliminator matches or testify matches or whatever the fuck these are called, right? You know, prove yourself, get a title shot. Have somebody win some of them every once in a while, right? They don't have to, they can lose the title shot a week later, but have them win so you got more of a reasoning behind an eliminator match or whatever, you know?
That's a great stat find. Like, if we could find out, has anybody actually ever won an eliminator match in AEW history?
I'm sure somebody had to have.
I feel like there was one that I can't, like, put my finger on.
Didn't Statlander beat Willow for an eliminator match?
That might have been it.
For the CMLL. Which still hasn't happened, I guess, because it wasn't a title shot at fucking All Out. So
I thought there was one like 2 years ago or something. Like, there was one a while back.
There had to have been
like
somebody
Dustin
who's
Rhodes.
won one.
It was like Dustin Rhodes or something.
Somebody
right?
had to have, right? Yeah.
Oh no, we need to find it out. So
but that's what I'm saying. You know, you keep having these all the time, which is fine, right? Have somebody win them occasionally, right?
Yeah.
So that you are more invested in that match. Because when you have a title match, even we knew Leo Rush wasn't walking out of that arena with that title on his shoulder.
Yeah.
But it was a title shot. It was a legitimate. He's getting a title shot. So you're a little perked up a little bit, right?
Yeah. It's something that they haven't capitalized on yet, but it's great because now, like, yeah, have someone win an eliminator match. You just saw them beat the champion. Now you know they can do it. They're probably not going to, and that's fine, but it just adds more stakes.
Yep. Nothing wrong with more stakes, that's for sure.
For sure.
I like stakes.
Speaking of stakes, we had the Casino Gauntlet tag team match, and the winner gets a shot at the Bucks at Grand Slam for the belt.
Because the Bucks cut a great promo earlier, bearing the division, right? Which is what we've been doing for weeks.
Yes. So, honestly, gentlemen, before this even starts, I want to get, like, before we even get into it, I felt like this was the greatest opportunity for them to, let's get the tag team division back right again.
Yeah.
Like, let's get right. And I felt like they missed.
Yeah.
I feel like they missed in the sense that this is not going to lead to a revival of the tag team division, but I really appreciated, here's like our top tag teams all together in one big match to main event Dynamite. Like, it was a good showcase for the tag division. But yeah, I feel like we're not going to see a lot of these teams outside of the occasional Collision or Rampage going forward. I also think they missed an opportunity. Like, obviously, they're just stacking Grand Slam and Ospreay and Fletcher versus the Bucks. How can you pass up on that match?
Yeah, sure.
I think if Grand Slam wasn't coming up and this wasn't a show they were trying to stack in a couple weeks, I would have liked to see the Bucks run down, interfere, and let the Righteous or the Outrunners or one of those tag teams that have no shot at winning go on to face them for the titles. Because that fits the Bucks in character, but it also gives a little bit of rub to the lower tier teams in your division.
Speaking of lower tier teams, It's not every day that Will Ospreay doesn't have the biggest pop of the night.
Especially when he's in the same match.
Yes. 100%. So let's just run through in the order that they came out. So FTR opened it, of course. Knew that was happening. 100% knew FTR was going to be the first ones out. Then your second team was Will Ospreay, Kyle Fletcher to a nice pop as well. So there are two. Right after them, you have the Righteous, which, hey,
Always.
great to see the Righteous.
Always good to see.
Yeah.
Love seeing them. Then you had the Undisputed Kingdom. Yeah, we've seen them a lot lately. Cool, but it's great to see them wrestle on TV. Then you had the Acclaimed. Wrestling, no rapping. Fine, great. I'm good with it. Whatever. They kind of need to do something there. But anyway. Then you had Mansoor or whatever, the MM Collection.
MXM. Put some
MXM,
respect on
sorry.
their name.
MXM. My fault. And I love them. Like, they came out to a lot. Then you had Top Flight, who, hey, it's great to see Top Flight. They've been around a lot
featured
lately.
a lot on Collision, you know? They got Layla Gray as their flight attendant. They have a whole, like, flight themed, which I appreciate now because...
Yeah,
I love
character.
Cool.
It's great.
They needed that, and now, it's great. But the next team, the 8th team that was called out, by far had the biggest pop of the night, and that is the fucking Outrunners, guys.
Outrunners.
I mean, I'm all in on the Outrunners. Like, I've been on them since they were a part of NWA, and then, like, now they're over here. Like, these dudes need to get pushed to the absolute moon.
That's how the Acclaim became the biggest thing. Because they were getting over with the crowd, and AEW did the very un-WWE thing of, crowd likes it, we're going to push it, right? This is a good, and maybe you didn't, I get it, Grand Slam, right? But this is definitely your wake-up call to know, push the Outrunners, right? Even if it's only for 6 months, push them. They are different. They are unique. The shtick sells. Their t-shirts sell like a fucking hotcakes. I need to buy one of their t-shirts because I know they got like cool, rad 80s looks. I love them, right?
Mm-hmm. I have t-shirts I need to buy before that. One of them is the person that's on the show.
You're not wrong. Okay.
That's support.
Yeah, like I was saying, this was a good showcase of the tag division. Like, there wasn't a filler team in this match. Obviously, the Righteous are not winning, but they're still a cool-looking team. They got a good get. Like, you've got so many good gimmicks in your tag team division. You've got so many actual teams. And again, you're good. I understand them not wanting to pass on being able to do Fletcher and Ospreay against the Bucks at Grand Slam. But the Outrunners could have won this match, and the crowd would be absolutely bonkers for them and the Bucks going for the titles.
Plus, you can have it be, I hate to even say it like this because I love me some Outrunners. That could be your time-saving squash match in New York.
Yeah.
Fine.
I want them to win it so bad now.
Oh, I do too. But you know what I'm saying, man. There was a lot of chatter online that Machine Guns were going to be here. I don't know.
Didn't they already sign with WWE?
Yeah.
Yeah. My understanding is they've already signed.
Yeah, they're probably not going to show up until either like near the end of the year.
Yeah.
They're going
to be NXT.
NXT, you know, but.
Speaking of NXT, do you see Julia made her appearance?
Of course I saw her. I saw her make her appearance. I saw Jordan Grace's. Oh, NXT last night was fantastic, right? Jordan Grace had an open challenge for the TNT Knockouts Championship. Sol Ruka is the one who answered that challenge. If you haven't watched that match, Jamie, go watch it.
Oh, yeah. No. I know.
You saw, yep. Spoiled by Blackout, and here's Rosemary with Wendy Cho as her new death doll.
Yeah.
I
think
didn't
you had
see NXT, but I did see Hammerstone showed up.
Hammerstone was there. It was Hammerstone and Obafemi, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta go back and watch that now. I want to see that match.
Dude, is
Big
that
meaty men slapping meat, bro.
That was
That's all you need to know.
Fantastic. The main event was a last man standing, you know, which I know you love so much. But yeah, Julia. I didn't know they were going to open with Julia either, right? So I came late to it. Luckily, I had it flagged so I could go back and start over. But NXT. Oh,
And Julia's translator.
Funaki. Yes.
Yeah, Funaki. I love
but she
that.
turns him off, and Julia could always do decent English, right? Her English to start for WWE is better than Asuka's was or Io's, Kyrie had pretty good English. I would say based on par with like Kyrie's, Yeah, but they made it official. So the CW premiere, which is in October 1st, I think, in Chicago, Roxanne versus Julia for the NXT Women's title.
And Julia's winning it for sure.
Absolutely. Anything else you guys want to get to?
So you guys want to talk about the PWI at all, or do you even care?
I don't care so much for lists that say that Cody Rhodes is a better wrestler than Will Ospreay.
So that's the thing with the PWI. It only exists, and this is as someone that is a fan of mixed martial arts in the UFC. It's just like the UFC rankings. It doesn't actually mean anything. The number one contender doesn't always fight next to the title. It's just to get people talking.
Yeah.
And the PWI does that very well every year. Outside of that, I've never purchased an issue of PWI. I don't even know if it's still a print media or if it's just online. I see a couple people tweet out, hey, I'm number this, I'm number that. Super cool. Happy for you. But outside of that, like PWI just does nothing for me.
Jamie, you care at all?
I think it's like old school baseball guys voting people into the Hall of Fame and won't vote in the guys who actually carried freaking baseball out of the freaking cellar when after the strike no one wanted to even go to a fucking game. But those guys like, oh, you can't vote for them because they use steroids. Like they saved the goddamn game. They deserve to be in. And then we have those same type of guys saying, oh man, that WWE product's way better than all the guys who are at freaking MLW or on the independent scene. It's like, why are they even being compared to each other? But anyway, I digress.
Yep.
Yeah, but like since we brought up, let's talk about Cody Rhodes being number one.
I mean, I get it.
The WrestleMania match was fun if you're into that sort of thing, like that super overbooked, bring back all the legends stuff. Was really well received. Cody Rhodes has done nothing particularly interesting since WrestleMania.
No.
Like,
I understood why you had Roman Reigns up there for the past like 3-4 years, right?
Yeah.
Literally carried the fucking company on his shoulders, right? Best storyline in probably the last decade, right? I love Cody. It's not the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we with our own eyes, we watched Will Ospreay wrestle Bryan Danielson, wrestle Takeshita, wrestle Roderick Strong,
wrestle Pac,
wrestle Pac. Like I don't get, but again, it's just there to make people talk. You got to put someone at number one. At the end of the day, this is pretend fighting in spandex. Like pick whoever you want to be the best guy. That's fine. That's why, like, I don't look too closely at the PWI list. I'll certainly never be on it, but
well,
don't talk like that, man.
We believe you. We have faith in you.
Yeah, I'm number one on the total Spotfest index, and that's all that matters.
Not for fantasy
100%.
football, because you both lost, losers.
We'll be at the end of the year. Don't worry.
Well, let's see how the end of the year.
If Jamie would have beaten me, even if it was by a point, it would have been a completely different tone for this entire show.
Oh,
okay,
absolutely.
100%. Just saying. But no, this is good fun. We're going to keep it going next week. Like I said, we'll have a little update every week about fantasy football. Join us next week. We're 2 weeks. So we got Grand Slam in 2 weeks. We're 4 weeks out from Wrestle Dream. So Grand Slam's it's a Wednesday show, but it's like a mini pay-per-view, the way that they try and book it. So should be some good stuff happening here. If it's your first time here, please hit that like, subscribe, share button. Definitely helps us out quite a lot. Follow us up on Twitter or X or whatever Elon decides to change it to next, right? At Total Spotfest. That's the best place you can find out information whatever we have goings on. And yeah, so thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. We appreciate you guys giving us some of your time. Jamie, take us home, man.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you're not down Total Spotfest, I got 4 words for you. The champ is here.
All right, guys. We'll see you next week.
Peace.
Later.